King David wept in the Garden of Gethsemane. And you're going to miss this if you don't pay attention to details. We were looking for parallels between David and our Messiah, and there are some obvious parallels. David was a good shepherd. He laid down his life for his sheep. He faced this impossible enemy. He literally pulled his sheep from the mouth of the lion. He rescued it from certain death. All right, now all of the connections you're going to find between David and our Messiah, there are some very obvious ones. They're both anointed by God, and we see all of these things that foreshadow our Messiah. But I was looking for connections and something jumped out at me, and you got to see this. Our Messiah was weeping in the Garden of Gethsemane, very famous time where everybody sees that he is just pouring out his heart to God. But there's a moment in Scripture in the book of 2 Samuel where David is being betrayed by his own son, and he is fleeing and he's going towards the Mount of Olives, and a very specific detail is given. All right, he goes up the Mount of Olives and he's weeping and he's crying, and he has this hood on his head and he's barefoot. Here's the King of Israel. He's got no shoes on and his hood's over his head and he is weeping, and all those people with him are crying out. And I started wondering, okay, he's going up the Mount of Olives. Where's the Garden of Gethsemane? I'm trying to look for any connection I can find. And I look up the Garden of Gethsemane, and it is across the Kidron Valley, right at the foot of the Mount of Olives. And I go and I'm reading this encounter in 2 Samuel, and something jumps out. It says David is going across the Kidron Valley up the Mount of Olives. He was going right towards the Garden of Gethsemane. His shoes were not on. And remember in this encounter with Moses, when God said, "Take your shoes off, Moses, because the ground you're on is holy ground." That means it was set apart. So here is King David barefoot going up on this ground that is set apart. This is where our Messiah is going to cry out, and God's going to be showing him our faces and what he's going to have to endure. He already knows. Our Messiah has read Psalm 22. He knows where this is going. He's crying out. David was betrayed by his own people, and here he is weeping in the Garden of Gethsemane. None of this is by accident. Our Messiah can be found on every single page of that word. God bless.